Welcome to Swami Parthasarathy's Guru Purnima lecture on personal rehabilitation. Guru Purnima is an auspicious occasion where we pay our respects to the galaxy of gurus who have handed down the great truths of life over thousands of years. Before we begin the lecture, here is a short introduction on the speaker, Swamiji.
Living is an art, a technique, a skill. But you've got to learn it and practice it. That's what the wisdom all about. Highlights in my career is discovery of the knowledge. It's deeply embedded in the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and it took quite a while to understand what they're saying. And when I understood it, how practical it is and how important it is to live these principles in life, that was the highlights. I understood and I want to give it to the world. Schools and universities provide information, knowledge, which gives you intelligence. Vedanta Academy is the only academy in the world which provides you a way to develop the intellect.
Swami Parthasarathy is one of India's best-selling authors on Vedanta, an ancient school of Indian wisdom.
He says that he knows the success or the secret to success in the life of harmony, something that we're all searching for amid the chaos of the markets.
So you still play cricket, you still do yoga.
Swami Parthasarathy lectures globally on disciplines.
He's a mean spin bowler and even has advised the Indian cricket team.
With cricket, SportsCenter has tracked him down to discover what feeds his unwavering passion.
It's mental health that creates physical fitness. Cricket is one of the few things that I do. I've been doing yoga and exercises which keeps you fit, but that will not bring about mental fitness. Mental fitness is only with the intellect. Intellect controls the mind, mind controls the body. Today, we are paying homage to our great sages and saints. On the Guru Purnima day, it's a tradition in India where all the devotees pay their homage to a galaxy of sages and saints who have made the knowledge of life and living available to us. It's not one person, but a number of persons, one after one, who have given us this knowledge. To them we prostrate, we give our deep gratitude. On the Guru Purnima day, we select a topic to talk to the audience that have assembled throughout the world. The topic for today is personal rehabilitation. The word rehabilitation indicates that people have fallen into a state of degradation, a state which is enveloped by distress and constant problems that the mind faces. The reason for this is that the entire world is extrovert. Nobody looks within oneself. As you know, the human constitution is made up of a physical body, mind and intellect. Within that body contains two wondrous equipments called the mind and intellect. Mind is a seat of emotions. You can see it on the board. The body is that which acts. Mind has feelings, emotions, impulses, likes and dislikes. The intellect is that which thinks, reasons, judges and decides. Now the question is, are you operating at the level of the mind or the intellect? Invariably throughout the world, the emotions overpower reason. The mind overpowers the intellect because the intellect is not developed, is not strengthened, it remains fallow. So the mind gets agitated and depressed. There is no institution in the world which caters to the development of the intellect. It is all intelligence and intelligence and intelligence. There is a world of difference between intelligence and intellect. Intelligence is knowledge acquired from our predecessors. Schools and universities provide intelligence, knowledge, information. But to use that information in life, we need a powerful intellect. You go to a medical school and get medical knowledge. You go to an engineering school, you get the knowledge of engineering. But that doesn't give you the expertise to use that knowledge in life. To be able to use that knowledge in life, you need a powerful intellect. And that is not catered to at all in the intellect, in the world. And therefore the intellect lies fallow, undeveloped, weak. And the mind overpowers the intellect. That is why people are agitated, stressed out. You find anybody in the world who can throw up his arms and say, I'm happy, I'm comfortable, it's temporary. Before you say that, you are plunged in darkness again. But the general feeling everywhere, no doubt, this is the state of the world. The world is full of agitations, depression, and suffering. And yet, there's a general complacency. If you ask anybody, he says, I'm fine, I'm okay. Nothing wrong with anybody. You always look at, even when I'm talking to you, look at others. Something wrong with somebody else, nothing wrong with me. You must develop, build, strengthen your intellect. Otherwise, you will have series of problems facing you rest of your life. Now, question is, how do we strengthen the intellect? As I said, there is no program anywhere in the world, not even in India, because I am speaking from India. No schools, no universities, no educational institutions, no governments caters to the development of the intellect. And all the problems that we face in the world is because of lack of development of the intellect. Millions and millions of doctors have passed through the medical school, but one guy found out the cure for tuberculosis. It is as deadly as the corona now. They're still finding out. They have the knowledge, but to use it in life you need an intellect, powerful intellect. If everybody had a powerful intellect, it is no time that they find the cure for corona. So therefore, friends, you have to, it's an obligation. Every one of us has to develop, build, strengthen the intellect. Now, how do we do it? But it should have started at the age of 8 or 9. It's too late now. But I'll give you a solution how you could do it now. But you should train your children. They naturally have a tendency to query, ask questions. In India, we shut them up. We said, don't, you're acting too smart. Keep quiet. But the children will ask. First lesson you learn to develop the intellect is never take anything for granted. Never take anything for granted. Number 2, question everything. That's how you develop the intellect. The problem is that we take everything for granted and we don't question anything. Before you are 6 or 7 or 8, you are a Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist. Nobody has a clue what his religion is. I'm not talking about religion only. I'm talking about everything. You have no clue what it is, but you are sure. I'm sure what I'm saying. So, never take anything for granted. Question everything. And if it had started at 8, you have a very powerful intellect. It is exercised. Otherwise, intellect lies fallow. Just as you have your muscles. When you're born with muscles. But the muscles that you had when you're born is not the muscles that you have now. It is already strengthened, perfected. Either consciously or unconsciously, you have developed your muscles. Otherwise, somebody has to carry you from place to place. So therefore, exactly like your muscles, the intellect also is born. But it's exactly the same that you had when you were in childhood. Nobody thinks. Nobody reasons. You go by feelings, emotions. And therefore, you are attached to everything. The mind gets attached. So, your mind is like the water flowing in a river. Remember this. Your mind is like water flowing in a river. Your intellect serves as the banks of the river. If the banks are not strong, the water of the river will inundate the fields and destroy it. When the banks are strong, the water will be contained in the river and it will be used for agriculture and other purposes. Similarly, your mind constantly has these emotions. If you don't control them, if you don't discipline them, if you don't have a hold on them, it will inundate your personality. And you go through all sorts of problems that you face in the world. Since your people who are listening are not 7 or 8, you may tell your children how to develop the intellect. But as far as the elders are concerned, I am running a school. That's the only school in the world today where I train students from all over the world. It's a 3-year course on developing the intellect, nothing else. It's to develop the intellect, just as I am talking to you, how to develop the intellect. Since it's meant for youngsters under 30, most of you would be disqualified. Therefore, we have now prepared a e-learning course. The same thing is available through e-learning. So you can plug it in your homes and listen to it. E-learning on this subject. And once you train your intellect, once you develop the intellect, you are a master, no longer a servant to the world. Remember, you make yourself, you mar yourself. You are the architect of your fortune, you are the architect of your misfortune. And there's a tendency to blame everything except yourself. Nothing in the world can disturb you except yourself. And you believe everything else in the world disturbs you. It's a misconception. Nothing can disturb you. You make yourself, you mar yourself. Remember that. And you attribute all your problems to others, to the world. If I had this, I'll be happy. If I had that, I'll be happy. If I had that, you can have everything. Find out from people who have everything. They're not happy. So, what is the result of not having the intellect developed? If you don't have a powerful intellect, you become selfish, self-centered. There are 3 types of people in the world. Remember this: selfish, unselfish, selfless. I repeat, there are 3 types of people in the world: selfish people, unselfish people, selfless people. I would say 98% are selfish people. You won't find 2% unselfish. And selfless are the people who have reached the highest, who reached the state of self-realization. So therefore, friends, what is being selfish? You see on the board, there's concentric circles for which you are working. I'm asking you a question, for what are you working? These concentric circles that you see on the board, either you work for yourself. Such a person is very, very disturbed, agitated. They crash. 95% work for their family. You work from morning till night. Work. What are you working for? Ask yourself. I'm not asking you. You ask yourself. I must ask myself. What am I? When I am talking to you now, what am I working for? Myself. I want something out of this talk. It's not what you do in life that matters, but how you do it. So therefore, are you working for your family? Are you working for your community? Are you working for your country? Outer and outer circles. Are you working for entire humanity or entire living beings? The higher the circle, the less the selfishness. That's the formula. But you will find people working for the innermost circle. What maximum is, the moment you are announced in your office that you got a promotion, immediately you rush to your telephone and ring your family and said, I want to tell you some good news. I got promoted. I'm not saying you should not talk, but you are not working for the family. You're working for the company, for the country, for the entire humanity. So the larger the circle, the more unselfish you are. But most people, if not all, are self-centered, selfish. Therefore, they are agitated, depressed, and they crash. And you go to psychiatrist, that fellow himself is agitated, depressed because he is selfish. Everybody is self-centered. Therefore, you will not find anybody free from agitations, free from depression. So the moment you go to the higher circles, you turn unselfish, you become less agitated, more peaceful. So you can go as far as that. Can I be of, if A meets B, A thinks in terms of what can I get out of B. He must learn this attitude of service, sacrifice. Can I be of some service? A meets B, he thinks in terms of what can I do to you. He may not need your help, but you must think in terms of what can I be of some service to you. No, that's not what it is. A meets B or B meets A. All the time you think, what can I get out of it? You will never ever go to a place or a person just for the other person's sake. So that is being unselfish. Selfless state is a state which very, very few people, highly qualified people can understand. Just be yourself. Do whatever you're destined to do. If you're a carpenter, do carpentry. If you're a plumber, do plumbing. If you're a salesman, sell. If you're a teacher, teach. If you're a preacher, preach. You're liberated. That is a selfless person. That's 1 in a million you won't find. So never find a selfless person, but try to be as unselfish as possible. But the problem in life is that everybody in the world, throughout the world, though called developed countries and undeveloped countries, there is no difference. There is no difference between royalty and the richest guy in the world. They are chasing that formula, how to become richer and richer and richer. And I have nothing wrong with riches. Entire life they are self-centered. What do they want to do in life? Is to acquire enjoy for themselves. Acquisition and enjoyment are the two motivations in life. All your lifetime, you want to acquire and acquire and acquire. And having acquired, you want to enjoy. You build a tennis court. You acquire a tennis court. But then you go, enter the tennis court and play the game. You enjoy the game. There's acquisition, there's enjoyment. You build a house, you just acquired it. Then you enter the house with your family. You enjoy living in it. So all your lifetime, there's acquisition and enjoyment. That's all you do. Then you may ask, sir, is it wrong to acquire? No. You can acquire whatever you want in life. There's no taboo. But remember this, let not your present happiness be dependent on future acquisition. That's the trouble everyone faces. Remember this. I repeat, let not your present happiness be dependent upon future acquisition. All your lifetime, if I get that, I'll be happy. If I get that, I'll be happy. If I get that, I'll be happy. There's no end to it. A fellow who has a 500 feet yacht, he thinks of, I don't have a 800 feet. He sees a 800 feet yacht. He wants a 800 feet yacht. Fellow who has the latest Mercedes, he says he wants an aircraft. Nothing wrong with it. But go to the fellow in the aircraft, he wants something else. He is chasing, everybody is chasing something else. If I get that, I'll be happy. If I get that, you must learn to be happy within your means. And then acquire the moon and the Mars. You can acquire anything. There's no taboo anywhere in the Shastras which prevent you from acquisition. You can acquire anything. But never let your present happiness be dependent upon future acquisition. If I get that, I'll be happy. Sir, one fellow who wanted to join my academy, the Vedanta Academy, where I teach all this. It's a 3-year residential course. Now it's available in e-learning. Not 4 years back. That fellow was studying, he is an Indian guy. So his parents brought him to me, saying that he should join the academy. He should study what I am teaching. Never mind Cornell, never mind Stanford, never mind Harvard. He should study this. Afterwards he wants to go, let him go. So there was a dispute between the parents and the boy. They came to me thinking that I would definitely recommend that he studies the course. So I told him, I asked him, what is your ambition? He says, I want to go to America. I want to study there. I said, brilliant. You should go. They were waiting for the kill, They thought finally I'll say, you're stupid. I said, what an opportunity. Everybody doesn't get an opportunity. You want to go to America, go there, study properly. A very, very fine place. And told them, I myself studied in England. It was a beautiful opportunity. You go to America, you study. And then the parents were waiting for the kill. And ultimately I said, when are you going? He said, next week I plan to go. Bye-bye. All the best. All the best. And they went up, dropped that fellow and came back and said, what is this you're doing? What is this? I thought you'll say, join the academy. So, that boy, you know what happened? He finished, he was about to finish the course. 6 months before they finished the course, he wanted to come away. And then I asked him, why do you want to join the academy? He said, sir, my ambition was to study in America. So I studied in America. And I wanted to top the list. I topped the list. I worked hard. And there were 4 companies that I wished to work for. I applied for 4 companies. All 4 interviewed me. 1 I chose out of the 4. I wanted to work in America in those beautiful companies. And then the country head of that company was interviewing me. Then he told me, young man, you've done very well and you're well qualified. You can join our company. You're welcome. And before you join, is there anything that you wish to ask? He said, yes, sir. He was the country head. This boy, young boy, who's with me still. This happened 20 years back. So he said, sir, pardon my asking you, are you happy in that seat? He got up, the country head, went and locked the door and came back and said, son, I'm telling you something, this is between you and me. You're not to tell anybody. And if you agree, I will tell you. He said, yes. I am leaving this company. I am fed up. I was aspiring to be the world #1 in the company. They put a younger fellow as world #1, and I am aspiring for the last 4 or 5 years. I am the country head, no doubt, but I want to become world #1. So he said, thank you very much, and left. Then he came and told me in the interview, I want to go to America, I went. I studied. I wanted to study, I studied. I wanted to do well, I did very well. I wanted to join a company, and my ambition was to become the country head, maybe sometime, but I want to grow up. And now I meet the company head, and that fellow is frustrated. He wants to leave. He's leaving. Therefore, friends, you always believe that something else can give you happiness. If you are not happy with what you have, you will never be happy. They change companies, they change partners, they change everything in life, but never find enduring happiness. It's a question of constantly, if I get that, if I get that. You must learn to live within your means. You must learn to be happy with what you have. And then aspire to get the moon, the Mars. There's no taboo in getting. But let not your present happiness be dependent upon future acquisition. If I get that, I'll be happy. If I get that, all the time you are thinking of that. And therefore, all business fellows throughout the world crash. They crash because they borrow and borrow and borrow till they crash. So if you have X amount of money, you will not do business with that. With that you can grow and become powerful. But you want to get money, others' money, which is the bank money, and then put in there an experiment. You borrow and borrow till you crash. You must learn to live within your means and then grow. There's no taboo in acquiring, but you must not let your present happiness be dependent upon future acquisition. Number 2, enjoyment. As I said, there are 2 motivations in life. One is acquisition, and the second is enjoyment. You want to acquire a tennis court, you want to play the game. You acquire a house, you enjoy living in it. You acquire a car, you enjoy driving in it. So all the time it's acquisition and enjoyment. There's nothing wrong with both acquisition and enjoyment. But we are now discussing how to make that a happy person. So enjoyment. As soon as you are able to enjoy, you acquire something, you indulge and indulge and indulge till you have lost sight of that enjoyment. You suffer. In India, we have never had honeymoons. It's a Western thought. And now every Indian goes on a honeymoon. There's neither honey nor a moon there. It's indulgence and indulgence. And if you want to enjoy what you have acquired, you have to regulate, moderate, discipline yourself. That's the way to enjoy anything. Regulate, moderate, discipline. At this moment in India, we have the mango season. There are plenty of mangoes available. Only for 3 months. Afterwards, you won't get a single mango. The people who can afford go all out. They go all out. And I have known people who have 2, 3 mangoes. It doesn't last more than a week or 2 weeks. Rest of the lifetime, rest of the season, they can't have mangoes. So you indulge, you lose the enjoyment. You see the graph. This is called neutralization. When you contact an object, it could be object or being, you get maximum pleasure, maximum enjoyment. So you go all out. If you don't regulate, if you don't moderate, the next time you contact that object, it becomes less enjoyment. But if you still don't moderate, regulate, less. And it becomes less and less and less. See the board. until you hit a zero. So the enjoyment comes to zero. This is called neutralization. You have it, but you can't enjoy it. A fellow who started cigarettes, if he moderates, he enjoys it. But he won't moderate. He'll keep on puffing, puffing, puffing. There are people who smoke, who puff once or twice a cigarette, and ashtray is full of cigarettes, not ash. They stub it. They light it, have 2 puffs, and they put it in the ashtray. Similarly, a person who drinks beyond control, there's no moderation, there's no regulation, there's no discipline. They drink and drink till they have lost the joy of drinking. So all that I'm saying is, acquisition, you acquire whatever you want. But there's no such thing as peak, the highest. There's no, even if you become the richest man, there are the fellows who are competing for that. They want to become richer, richer till they become the richest man. And when they become the richest man, the problem, what is the problem? Okay, you tried. You are nowhere near that. But there are people who are trying to become the richest person in the world. And after becoming the richest person in the world, he declares himself, he's so happy. There was parties and parties going on, everything, because he is declared number 1 in the world. And then the problem is to maintain it. All along you want to get there. Then you want to maintain it. So therefore, friends, it is regulation, it is moderation, it is discipline that gives you happiness. But if you contact an object, straight away you lose it. Lose the enjoyment if you indulge again and again and again till you hit zero. This is called neutralization. So, your entire life you're selfish, and therefore you want to acquire and you want to enjoy. Nobody knows how to acquire. Nobody knows how to enjoy what they have. And therefore, you crash. So, as far as the mind is concerned, what is the rehabilitation? The mind overpowers the intellect. The mind is attached. The mind is possessive. You suffer from attachment and possessiveness. What is rehabilitation? All the suffering is because of the virus of attachment. I can't understand the world. I can't understand the governments. There's so much of noise. Rightly, I'm not opposed to it. Rightly about the corona now. It was SARS. It was bird flu. It was swine flu. It was any number of threats. And it is, what is it? The good old days, it was plague. It was smallpox. It was, what is that? Tuberculosis. When I was a teenager, I'm 93 as you know. When I was 12, 13, tuberculosis is a deadly disease. See, when you have cancer, you can have the patient in your house. You can be in the same bed, it's all right. But when you have tuberculosis, you've got to send your own family member to a sanatorium because it's highly contagious and sure death. There's no cure. One shot, now cancer is cured. I'm sorry, the tuberculosis is cured. So therefore, friends, the mind suffers from a virus, the virus of attachment. Nobody bothers about it. You bother about SARS, you are bothered about bird flu and swine flu, you bother about now the botheration, the whole world is bothered about coronavirus. I am not saying you should not be bothered. What is coronavirus compared to virus of attachment? It is killing everybody. It is destroying everybody. Attachment, possessiveness. There's no family life. There's no children. There's no nothing. 70% of the foreign countries are divorced. For what? You're divorced. You can't live with your own persons. Attachment, possessiveness. The virus of attachment is deadly. Nobody bothers about it. They were bothered about these flus that come and go. Plague comes and goes. I'm not saying we can't take care of that. But what is permanently bothering us? Is there one person who's happy with the family? Always a problem, some sort of a problem because of attachment, because of possessiveness. The virus of attachment and possessiveness is destroying the whole world. That's where we have to rehabilitate ourselves. It is the mind that is attached, is possessive. Unless you have a powerful intellect, you can't control the mind. Sir, a man suffers from diabetes, but is very, very fond of sweets. You can't blame him. Why are you fond of sweets? When you got diabetes, he's got diabetes, but he's fond of sweets. So whenever a chance to eat the sweets, he grabs it. His mind wants it. His intellect says he should not have it because the doctor said no more sweets. And yet, he wants to grab it. He has it and suffers because his mind demands, his intellect is not powerful to hold the mind. He is not powerful enough to control the mind. Therefore, the mind overpowers the intellect. And therefore you suffer. The virus of attachment is hitting everybody and nobody is aware of it. Leave aside controlling it. There is no program by the government. Now you see the governments all over the world running after, so interested in controlling coronavirus. But what about the virus of attachment? It is not left anybody. It is attacking everybody. And everybody is suffering. And yet, you're attached, you're possessed, you're possessive. This virus of attachment. Now, I'll quickly analyze one by one. As far as possessions is concerned, it has a shelf life. You are materially attached. You can't enjoy the car that you had driven 5 years back. You want to change it. You want to change it. Similarly, you can't enjoy the house that you have fully bought it. You want a bigger house. You want a bigger and bigger, everything bigger, possessions, not realizing that they have a shelf life. It works for a while and then dies away. You don't realize that. I'm not saying you should not get better things. I'm not saying you should not get better cars, better houses, better. I won't recommend better wives. Okay, you have a wife. No, after a while it's uncomfortable. If your intellect is strong, you will be happy. So all your possessions have a shelf life. Dies after some time. You're not aware of it. Unless you have an intellect, you're not aware. Secondly, partner. When you find a partner, you don't understand that attachment separates, detachment binds. But you're attached. You walk with her, you talk with her, you sleep with her, you walk, eat with her. You will not leave a person alone. A doesn't leave B, B doesn't leave C. Therefore, after a while, they are suffocated. But they will not tell each other. So, partners separate. Divorce rate has gone up to 60%, 70%. It's ridiculous. You take time to get married. And there was no such thing as, even now, you won't find, it's in single digit, the divorce rate. Hardly any divorces in India. If at all there is any divorce, it's because of people who have been abroad. They learn this and come. Students go and learn this, how to get rid of the partner. Separation, divorce, because of attachment. And then you have children. The parents beget children. And every child you're attached. And they wait for they only wait for their maturity. The moment they become mature, they gain enough age, they leave the house. I am not a pessimist. I am a realist. I am telling you what is happening throughout the world. They will not stay. And even if they stay, they will stay in a different place. Father and mother are old. They need attention. But this fellow will marry or not marry. He will stay in a separate house. He will leave the parents. And because the parents are attached, attachment repels, detachment binds. But they are attached. Parents are attached to their children. Children can't stand the attachment. And therefore they leave. Now what happens when you are attached? Two things happen. Remember this. Every family, every parent is attached to their children. So it has become a law. And what beats me is, I can't understand this. Royalty, you take the royalty, king and queen, they're attached to the children. Very much attached. And the princess leaves. They get away from the royalty. They want to denounce the royalty. And nobody understands why they're doing it. Attachment. Then you come to the richer people. The Forbes list. Every one of them is attached to their children. And no child stays with the parents. They leave. They get fed up with the parents. Take the Forbes list and examine the richer people. Then you find the normally rich people who are CEOs of companies and all that. Children, terribly, terribly attached. When the parents are attached to the children, not as I said, royalty, the richest person, the rich person, then the middle class fellow, even slum area, the parents are attached to the children. Very much attached. If they are attached to the children, two things happen. Remember this. They become children become a vegetable or a rebel. I have told people who have come and asked me, why are my children behaving like that? One has become a rebel, one has become a vegetable. They don't see it. The parents don't see it. Even after telling. So there is no chance of you understanding what I am saying. I am coming to it at last. I am appealing to you. Ultimately, as I said, you got to build the intellect. Since it's late, you have to do the e-learning. The children become vegetable. They don't react. And people are wondering, I've got everything, I'm offering everything to my son, daughter. They're not taking it. How many families abroad in America, in England, they have appealed to me. They said 3 children, 4 children. None of them are following the parents, the father who has got a roaring business. They are left the country, left somewhere. They are prepared to work in a small place. Why? Because of extreme attachment. They'll rather work somewhere than be in prosperity with his parents. So they become, or they rebel, they go away, or they become a vegetable. Vegetable means they cannot act, they cannot react. They don't act or react. They're like any other piece of furniture staying in the house. They don't do anything. There are cases where a multi-million fellow has children who don't work. It's not that they're working for somebody else. They cannot. So it's because of extreme attachment. The last thing, as I said, you're attached to possessions, you're attached to the partner, you're attached to the children. Then the worst of all, attached to your religion. You develop fanaticism. There's no intellect playing at all. You say you're a Hindu, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist, I don't know what you say. Nobody has a clue what his religion is. They don't know what it is, but they are attached. And therefore, they develop what is known as fanaticism. I hate you, you hate me. All the wars have been fought in the name of religion. Do you know that? Go back to history. So therefore, possessions, you're attached. Partner, you're attached. Children, you're attached. Religion, you're attached. What are you not attached to? The virus of attachment is killing everybody. You don't bother about it. The government doesn't bother about it. Nobody bothers about it. These things come up and go to threaten mankind because mankind slaughters millions and millions of innocent animals every day. You don't care about that. Millions and millions of innocent creatures are slaughtered every day. You don't bother about it. And therefore, when it comes to few people slaughtered, oh, how can they do it? How can nature? I can't understand. Nature is so forgiving. They do very little, yet you don't understand that you have caused it. The solution is to all these problems. There's only one solution. Personal rehabilitation can come about by strengthening the intellect. You've got to strengthen the intellect. There is no other solution. So, strengthen the intellect is, as I said, never take anything for granted, question everything. But now, by the time you build, you will be nearer the grave. So it's too late for you. So you got to do the what I would recommend is the 3-year residential course. It's called the e-learning course. If you take that course, you will be able to develop the intellect, because it's easier to say, to develop the intellect. How will you develop the intellect? It's not through reading just books. So when you take the course, it's the e-learning course, you will be able to develop the intellect. Once the intellect is developed, within 6 months you'll see the difference. You'll be able to control the whims and fancies of the mind. Thereafter, you're monarch of all you survey. Nothing in the world can disturb you except yourself. You make yourself, you mar yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji, for addressing us today. Those of you who would like to donate may use the button below the screen to make your contribution. Donations support public education on higher values of life, including the residential program at the Vedanta Academy in India. Here are a few avenues to develop your intellect. The first is the 3-year structured course on intellectual development at the Vedanta Academy for students between the ages of 18 and 30. Recordings of the course classes by Swamiji are available online as the following e-learning programs. For further details, visit elearning.vedantaworld.org. Over 60 years, Swamiji has written 12 books that provide a comprehensive manual for life. The 4 books recommended to start with are, in order, The Fall of the Human Intellect, Governing Business and Relationships, The Holocaust of Attachment, and Vedanta Treatise, The Eternities. Regular study classes based on the books are facilitated worldwide by alumni of the Vedanta Academy and are open to all. Last is the Vedanta World app, which you can download from your phone's app store. Access audiobooks, public lectures, and some devotional music and chanting. For more details, visit vedantaworld.org. Thank you.